Hey, I think this is working. Check this out. Morning, everybody. Can you all hear me? What's up, Belmont? Morning to you too. As long as you can hear me and there's not too much interference or anything, I will start us out. Hey, morning, Tony. Sound's coming through okay there, right? You all could see me. I know there's the everything okay so far. Hey, Rent. So the first thing that I excuse me. Wow, I'm definitely still got a cold here. Um, so the first thing that I wanted to show before we do anything else is this current motherboard. This is the stock motherboard in this very nice case with the very nice clear controllers and everything. I showed that last time, but the stock motherboard is very noisy. I tried replacing the RAM chips. Somebody suggested that, uh, and one other person said it was the motherboard revision, and another person said it could be trusted people said it could actually be the PPU revision. So you can see the jail bars coming through. Let me do a screenshot of this real quick, just so we can zoom in, so I can show you exactly what I'm aiming to fix, just in case there's something up with YouTube compression or anything. All right, so yeah, that should be much easier to see. Look at the 3 itself, and then look at the jail bars next to it. Yeah, Rent. That's not my intent. The intent is to continue to put this thing through the paces that I've been putting it through for the past, geez, almost a year now. So yeah, I use it for everything because it's already a really solid product, but I want to make sure it launches as robust as possible. So when people buy this thing, they feel like they bought a product that's been out for a year because kind of sort of has. No using the community for beta testing here. Although there's always going to be issues. Always. It is impossible for a small group of people to test every single scenario. So I guarantee you, somebody's going to have a weird ass Neo Geo revision. It's going to get some weird sync curling or something going on. So that's a little bit different. All right. So now that we see that everything's actually working fine, it just got a little bit of jail bars. I'm gonna take this sucker apart, desolder the CPU and PPU, and connect the new one. I think we might do this in stages though, because let me pop this open. Well, let me show you all a couple of things, and then we could do this step by step just to really nail down what the actual issue is. So let me see this bag of goodies RGR sent me. Okay, these. Those are for another time. RGR sent me some surprises in here, so I will put that aside for a stream in the future. What else do we have? All right, so we have the replacement motherboard itself right here. It's pre-populated with everything except the controller ports, which you could solder in directly, or the actual PPU and CPU, and it's labeled and everything. And it shows the notch on the board. Let me see if I could set this to manual mode, just so you could so I could do a really good job representing this thing here. So, all right, so we have where we need to solder in controllers, and I might do that last because I want to get to the good stuff. Because we have the controller adapter that I might be able to use with that. We should be able to see, but the CPU and PPU slots are here, and you see that shows the notch. They're both labeled, so that's nice, and it's got everything else connected pretty well actually. So that's one of the things. And sorry for the autofocus. Let me just grab the other real quick. And the other thing that he sent a new rear replacement board. So I have one of the ones in here that I did a write-up on the site about a couple of years ago. And this could have a bunch of different options from RGB to composite to whatever you might need. So yeah, that's let me take a quick look at this and let me see if we could just start with this. Just replace the rear board and see where we're at. I'll have to see what we need to solder up. If anybody is on the RGR website, you want to find me some instructions, I'll start with that and kind of go step by step. Okay, so I guess the first step, no matter what we choose to do, is to take the case apart. So I have my trusty pad here. Okay, spare piece is out. And then this is the one I got from the back office. Let me take this out so you can all see this. By the way, this is still one of my favorite screwdrivers. I'm 99% sure it's still in the Amazon store, but I had one for years, and then I think what ended up happening is it still worked great, but the clip that keeps the battery in wasn't sitting down snug enough anymore. It wore out over time, so sometimes it just wouldn't work. But that was years before that ended up dying or whatever you want to call it. It was really worth the money. It's funny to think how much time I wasted over the years before I had, well, only like a year when I started RetroRGB, manually unscrewing everything, just taking forever. So let me show this. Let me see. Um, so this was, oh, I'm gonna go back to manual mode. This was the original board that I had in there from the company back office. And it was a very good design. It worked really well. There's absolutely no complaints from me over it. I just, I'm interested to see what RGR came up with, but this one was great. It uses the original power supply and everything. No complaints whatsoever. And in fact, it was more accurate than whatever hacky mod was in there before that got composite video. So let's see. So this lines up properly. The only thing I'm concerned about with the RGR board is there is no, at least yet, there is no RGB mod for this. So let me just double check. So I think what RGR did, let me grab the cabling that I just put that right next to me, and I guess I'll check the chat too. Eric, the use case for this is for anybody who has a, a damaged Famicom motherboard, or anybody. I guess really it's just that. It's just for people who have a damaged Famicom motherboard. Excuse me, jeez. So here's everything else that came with it. It came with a mini DIN. but I believe that would require cutting the plastic. And even though this isn't, well, let me see actually. Maybe you don't need to cut it if we're using the aftermarket case. You know, it's funny. I remember talking about this on one of the weekly podcasts, and I have no idea what I said. So, would it need to be cut? Find out right now. Um, no, I don't think it does actually. It's cutting it super close, but I don't think it would need to be cut. Let me see if I can get that on camera as well without messing it up. Yeah, that's a pretty good fit. I like that. That would just use a Genesis 2 style composite cable. So if let me double check their website, but if that works, that's a perfectly good option for me. And it's got the same barrel connector. It should be the same power as the original, which I always prefer. Then the other option seems to be ground composite left right. So this would be for double check. So that's for the switch. Oh, I see. Or I could use this one back in manual mode. Yeah, so there's no conductors on the back of this thing, so I could just set it. Let's see if I can get it in focus here. The focus is going to drop back in a second, isn't it? Yep. So you see the three vias on the new replacement board that would go right over. So I could just solder over that, and that would go in the same spot. I'm not really sure which I'm going to prefer for now. Think about that before I put it in. And then there's two more wires that came with this thing. Now I have lots of great little baggies if I want to share weed with my friends. Anybody remember these? Any other old people out there remember? That's how I used to get it. Those tiny little bags. Yeah, Belmont. I'm really looking forward to seeing if this does cut down on noise interference because I have a feeling some of the problems are motherboard based and some are PPU based. And then we got the two more harnesses here. So one of them, I'm assuming this connector. Yeah, I think this connector would probably line up with the other existing connector that's on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Um, I'm gonna double check the website, but that would be the biggest bonehead mistake in all of retro if you had a 7-pin connector that didn't connect to the 7 pins that were there. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that's not the case. And I think this is probably going to be for the main switch. I could just reroute it around there, but I will double check the website now. And let me know in the chat what you want to see me do. Should I do the mini din? Should I do the 3.5 millimeter jack? I don't know. Let's see here. Because then on this board, oh, and then there's a jumper on it, composite RF. All right, let me check out their website. Hey, what's up, Monty? Yeah, the mini din does look cool, but also if I use the mini din, that would mean if I ever do upgrade this one to an RGB mod, then I don't have to desolder that other thing. And it's not like I don't have. Actually, let me just double check. I got a bunch. Wait a minute. I have an idea. Where the heck is that? Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. I got cables from the frog. I could use that. That should be fine. Oh yeah. All right. I think we may have found our answer here. So I think I'm going to mini din it. I just want to check the website, make sure I'm not about to do something really stupid. Which would be funny, but at the same time kind of not. All right, so I'm gonna drop in the chat what I'm looking up now. If anybody wants to wave, or I just saw Monty type waves and repeated the word. Well, I'm definitely asleep. Don't if y'all want to type some swears in the chat? Maybe I'll accidentally just repeat that too. All right, so this is the same set that I have. Good. um, the kit on the website um, makes it look like focus. I feel like 8-Bit Esquire over here. All right, on the website, this heat sink was separate, but here it was already pre-bolted on. So if you ever get one of these and you reference the website and you're like, "Where's the heat sink?" Check the board. All right, so we could use our Famicom composite adapter if you want to get better quality. Let me make sure Martin didn't send anything else in this box that I'm missing. There is one other thing we're going to show off when we put it back together: new levers, but that's not related to this. So just double checking absolutely everything in here. Yeah, see, there's some more stuff down in the bottom. I kind of knew it. All right. Let's see what else we have. This is, besides more baggies for use for later. Here. All right, so I believe, wow, that print is small, and I'm getting old, so it's time to time to strap on my old man disguise. Put on my glasses that I haven't needed my whole life until now. And see. So this board here is Famicom composite adapter. And this is the USB power adapter, which I just never been a fan of those. I've just seen too many power related issues happen. Not with Retro Game Restore, but I just mean in general in life, lots of power issues. So we do have the composite board. So let's see if we could do that one too. If I could pull off these installs without ruining anything. So all right, mini din it is, and not this one. Let me just double check too. The only concern is I don't want to put the mini din on and find out that you have to have the RGB mod for it. So let me I'm almost tempted to do that first. Let's see. One other kind of cool thing is on this replacement board. Let me get back to manual focus for a minute. The holes for those 7 pins are in the same exact spot, and it's not socketed or anything. So this could end up being an exact replacement. Like if you wanted the original RF board and you just needed a new motherboard, you could use this. All right, so then if we're gonna do that, I think I'm gonna do the whole thing. I think I'm gonna change my mind and do the whole thing at once. All right. I guess I'm going to need the power module off of this as well. Oh, that's the reset button. I mean, sorry, the reset button off of that. I know Martin was testing different ways of doing the reset thing. They were all actually kind of neat. So, I'm not sure if any of that's on in here, though. I don't think so. Yeah, all right. Let me double check one last thing, and then I'll just start desoldering. You know how this lines up. I'm just checking that website that I dropped in the chat a minute ago. What is that speaker looking thing with a blue light on the bottom left? You mean this thing? That's my server. What's up, Hugo? All right, I'm getting the instructions. Is the only other thing to triple check here is which one of these pins is ground, because on this wiring harness, which plugs in here, black is ground, like it should be. So I just want to double check which is which. So when we put it in, I know what I'm doing, and I think that's basically all I need before we get started. Do I use a SCART switch? Yeah, I've used a couple. The G-SCART and the GamesCare are my favorite. And as soon as this live stream's done, I will get the stuff ready to launch a video on the GamesCare switch. So it'll be lots of content today. So all right, so if this is ground, then that means this should be ground. If that's ground, there should be ground points everywhere. Come on. All right, so that lines up. So when this plugs in, so it lines up exactly as you would hope. When this thing plugs in, it's going to solder on directly like that. So, okay. It's been a long time since I used my desoldering iron, so let's start this process and see how badly I screw all this up. So I have everything run through, all of this equipment run through one switch, one power switch, so that if I ever get nervous and about stuff, like some of these knockoff equipment that I use, people have said that there's fire dangers and stuff. I actually, as much as I'm always super cautious about power, I think that's all very overblown. However, I also just, I didn't just blow off the warning, so I leave everything connected to that. So no matter what, even if I leave something on or whatever else, if I just leave it on this switch, it doesn't matter because the main switch is off. Desoldering iron. Now, if this was if I was talking about or about to work on a brand new, well, let me reword this. If I had never opened this Famicom before, ever, and this was the first time I was ever actually working on it, what I would do is the trick Voltar taught me of add new solder first, then start desoldering. Except I've already replaced the PPU and CPU on this, and I've already also replaced the back thing. So I think I don't need to do any of that. I think I could just wait for this thing to heat up to 400 and start desoldering. But we shall see. And I think since the power switch is there, I could just get that too real quick. Let me snap a little picture though, just for the hell of it. Just in case there is some kind of orientation there, which there probably isn't. Soldering iron certainly heats up a hell of a lot faster. Okay, that out of the way. Now I could remove the case altogether. I will leave this on its happy little foam platter and put it up over here. Could move the controllers out of the way too. Fume extractor? Nah, I'm just going straight cancer to the lungs. All kidding aside, the window's right here. I'm about to crack it open. Excuse me. All right, so what are the things that we're going to need off of this? We're going to need the power switch. Reset switch, sorry. Okay. I'm going to have to probably get back to that one. And then we have, of course, I'm starting with the ones I didn't ever try to desolder before, so see how all this goes. So there seems to be at least 2 pins that are like folded over on this thing. I don't know why the hell I didn't just put my glasses on for this. I keep thinking I'm young still or something. I don't know. So there are a couple of pins that were folded over. Let me grab tweezers or something to pull them up. See if RGR responded yet too. Nope, not yet. I never tell anybody when I'm streaming because I never know when I'm streaming. I'm never like, yeah, meet me at 10 a.m. on Saturday because I just, if I see that I have a couple hours free ahead of me, I'm like, okay, let's jump on it. I've never tried to desolder the controller slots before. I wonder if they're all like this with 2 pins folded over on each. I wonder if that was like their installation method. Fold the pins over to keep it in place, then solder the rest down or something. Something I would do. So there, I'm gonna have to hit that with a heat gun later, but since they're plastic, I don't want to use a heat gun unless I have to. Maybe I just... Oh no, it's coming. Okay. Let me I'm not sure if this ever does anything, but I feel like it does, so I continue to do it. We just need one out to run the test, so while I'd like to finish it all today, if I screw something up and only get one of these controller things out, we could at least still test it. Yeah, all right. We might have to hit that with a little heat later, but they're almost out. They're like 99% out. The pins are wiggling, so there's got to be something there keeping it. For the reset button, which I could do afterwards, I think that's going to be one where I have to add new solder to everything. So now let's do the CPU and PPU and see if I can pull this off. So, I mean, I've done it before successfully because you all saw it working. Here's the exciting part, right? So what I'm doing here, anybody that's been following me for a while has already heard the story, so I'm sorry, but um, this is what Voltar taught me years ago. And then when I became friends with Jose, he taught me to do the same thing, and it never worked. And I was pulling traces out, and I ruined a couple of motherboards. And one day, I just said, you know what? What if it's the gun? So I bought this thing, the ZD915. The very first thing I tried to desolder fell right out in a good way. It was the gun I was using. My friends had taught me the correct techniques, and I was doing it right. I just had terrible equipment. So always, always, always get good equipment. Not expensive, just not shitty. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on this stuff. The ZD915 was like, I think they're like 110, 120 now. And that Kesker soldering iron is still under $100. Everything went up in price, obviously, lately, but still good prices. That one must be the ground pin. Whenever anything's connected to a ground plane, it usually takes harder time to desolder it, especially if it's a Neo Geo MV1C. All those are nightmares for that. I'll check the chat as soon as I get this chip out. So, any questions, or I guess if you're pointing out if I'm doing something wrong, it'll be too late. But it'd be very funny if I just pulled the wrong chip. Well, I think I also just desoldered part of a capacitor too, but whatever. So, wiggle it with your fingers. So what I am gonna do, lightly, just wiggle. I am not really putting any pressure. I just want to see if there's some pins that are stuck that maybe I could unstick. But this is not a pry. I mean, I'm actually making the motion of prying, but that is not what I'm doing. Just a little wiggle here. They all feel pretty loose. Not that one though. I think I missed one or two. So let me try that again real quick. Try the old wiggle trick again. Yeah, it's mostly moving, so. Oh, I think I found another one that's not fully in or out. Oh. I could use heat afterwards to just kind of run the heat gun over while pulling up on the side that is most stuck. But most of these seem totally fine. Only two that's potentially problematic. Let me check the chat and see if any. Yeah, I don't have the space or money for a bench microscope, but I would love one. And I also don't do that much soldering. Yes, it is an X Files poster. It's still one of my favorite shows. Belmont managed to get your NES PPU out with a heated solder sucker. Wow, that must have taken an hour. Oof. All right, let's keep going then. I was doing a tiny Nintendo, I could just Dremel the chips off. Yeah, I'm not. That's a Shank thing. That's not a me thing. You're gonna need somebody with the skill of Shank to do that. Definitely not me. Um, so since this one isn't fully out, I'm gonna just keep going with the desoldering iron at the moment and do the other chip here. So that way I could just hit it with a heat gun for all of them afterwards. Yeah, I need to stop and clean my desoldering iron too. Let me get most of this off, and then I'll try it with wait for it to cool, and then I'll try with the other stuff and get it with the desoldering iron. The extra solder just rolled off. So all I'm doing is waiting until both the pin and the via get hot enough to go liquid. I could feel it move underneath, and then I'm pulling the trigger. So I'm just making sure that everything has enough time to transfer the heat through. We're moving it that way. There's a lot of solder on that one. Promise the stream will get slightly less boring once I get these chips out. Yeah, it's the ones in the ground plane again. So let me give those one more shot. Cross my fingers, and then I can pull out the heat gun, and maybe even clean this thing out too. Yeah, there's something up with those. How do you get audio out of the mini Toslink from their Mister analog board? They bought a mini Toslink to Toslink cable, but got no sound. Check whoever you get the I/O board from. Mine just worked. Later, Shadow Mask. Thanks for swinging by. What's up, Red Herring? Right. So, I'm going to try one more thing, and then I'm going to show the chat exactly what it is I'm dealing with here. This is, by the way, I am not a great modder, so I don't have camera set up because I have to use weird positions to get these things. Anybody that's ever tried to do a modding stream knows that it is really, really, really hard to get things on camera as well as be able to do it at the same time. And I'm just not good enough to do that. I'm good enough to get the work done, barely, but... that one too. One other here. That actually helped a lot. So I'm just putting the soldering iron in on one side and the desoldering iron on the other. You only want to do this on stuff that's on a ground plane, or where there's really not many other options. So let me power off my desoldering iron. I will wait for it to cool a little bit and try to clean it out. And then let me, since the soldering iron's nice and hot, let me try a couple of things. So will this wiggle itself out now? No. But this one? Also no. Great. This was so much easier the last time I did it. Maybe I put too much solder when I put it back in. I might end up using a heat gun with some pressure on this. I can try one of the controller port ones though, because this was mostly coming out. Like this side seemed pretty loose. So let me try, I don't know if I can get this on camera. Okay. That seems to have worked. Yeah, alright, so we got, after all that, mostly worked. Something else is still in here. Hold on a second. Okay. So after all that, we got one controller port out, no CPU or PPU, and no reset button. However, progress, right? We could, at the very least, install this. Ooh, one bent pin. Let me get my pliers. Hey, Leon. Yeah, that's the next step, Leon. Sorry to hear about your rat, dude. We're currently battling mice. I saw one run right past me the other day, and in my house, and I just kind of started laughing because my wife is deathly afraid of mice. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to solve this before this goes bad. Uh, so I set out some traps, and I caught one like immediately. The one that was running around, it was like playing with the trap. And then I went to bed, and I came back, and it was there. And I get the quick kill traps. The glue traps make me want to throw up. You're just gonna let that thing stick there and die slowly? No. Uh, and then out of curiosity, I was like, well, it can't be that easy. So let me see what I got. And I put more traps down. And every time I put more traps down, wouldn't you know, I catch more mice. So I'm kind of terrified to see what I got now. So funny enough, the second player has more pins. So for me to, I was gonna pull one of these off. Let me see if I can get this in view for you all. Manual. Got. All right. So this is the player 2, and that has more pins, and that's the one that came out easier. And when I went to put it in this side, it didn't line up right. So let me work on getting that other one out. Right. So this one I think is the same. I think. Oh no, what was? I think this had an annoying pin on both sides. And once again, I'm not prying. When I'm putting this screwdriver in, I'm just lightly putting pressure just so this thing has some kind of upward pressure to pull out so it doesn't just sit there and heat up. But there's not like a prying motion going on because that's certainly how you could rip things out, rip traces, and hurt other stuff. And Leon, if you're still watching, the reason I don't want to use heat on this up here is simply because there's plastic around it. So I'll use the heat last. Oh yeah, wow. There's a big wad of solder goop underneath this one. I can get that without. Huh. Interesting. That's from the factory too. I didn't do that. Okay. And I managed to do it without pulling a trace completely off, but I did pull it up. So that's exactly where I was saying don't make the prying motion. But there was so much goop on this one, there was really not much of another choice. But I didn't ruin it. I could easily put that one back down. Just gonna straighten these pins out. Okay. Controller ports went in, no problem. Let me solder these up real quick just so I could have one win in this. And I'll clean the desoldering gun out and hit it with the heat gun. Hey Itchy, no, I can't afford to go to all those expos again. So if they want to fly me out and pay for my time, sure. But if not, then I just can't do that anymore. I flew out on my own dime last time. I filled a room. I did my absolute best to promote it. I didn't even get a thank you, nothing. So I was just, you know what? No thanks. Which sucks because I like meeting people, but if I ever won the lottery, that's one of the things I would do is I would just have like a caravan of awesomeness going to every single expo, just having so much fun. But yeah. So somebody in the chat I noticed was talking about if they're field mice, check for outside. Yeah, we did call an exterminator because I just don't want to leave this up to me, who doesn't really know shit about mice other than how to set a trap with peanut butter. And they found so many little places that I would have, like, I didn't even know existed in my own home, and they just do it for a living. The guy that showed up was younger, probably in his 30s, a gamer. So when he walked in and saw the stuff, he was immediately knew a fellow nerd was here. But he seemed to like what he does the way I like what I do. So when I started asking him a bunch of questions, it wasn't like, he was like pumped to talk to me. So it was pretty cool. It was like, all right, so I'm going to ask you every question. And I did. And he taught me a lot about entryways and stuff like that. But all right. And once again, since I'm going for a couple of wins here and I'm still waiting for that to cool down, let me just solder in the mini din. Always get add solder to one, tack it in, add it to another, make sure it's all solid, and then add it to the rest. Ooh, yeah, see? I don't know if you saw that, but I almost pulled it back for a little bit. Now we're solid, so just adding it in. Oh, I think I added a little too much. Perfect. Those Voltar videos, right? I love it when he makes little mistakes like that because the way he does it, it's like, okay, we accidentally bridged 2 pins. No problem. Clean your soldering iron tip off, go back and just redo it. Like I love that. I love showing stuff like that because the first time you're modding something and you bridge 2 pins and you're like, oh my god, what do I do? Do I need desolder braid? Do I need to pull out the desoldering iron? And it's just like, nope, probably not. The fix should be a 2-second fix. You should be fine. Ah, damn it. Hope that didn't just go all over my floor. Well, it went somewhat over the floor. Yeah, I'm gonna be vacuuming that up later. Lovely. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Thank you. I'm feeling a little better, but it's just been kicking my ass. Oh, thanks, Itchy. I didn't realize you were out that one. Or maybe I did, and it's just been so long. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. The only thing I'll say, and this isn't a complaint, this is just like a funny thing, is when I got up on the stage in Portland, I was walking around, I was setting up, and then as soon as I sat down in the chair, I couldn't see anything. Nothing outside of the table. So the only thing that I could ever see is when the back door opened and the light spilled in from the main hall. So the entire time, I have no idea. Are people playing with their phones? Are people laughing at my dumb jokes, or are they sick of them and want me to stop? Should I stick it to nerding only? The only thing I saw was when people got up to leave. So the whole time I'm like, this is the worst one I've ever done. They're never going to invite me back. All my friends are going to be like, you're an idiot. Why? And after I was done, I asked everybody, including some people who are very good friends but harsh critics in a nice way, and they're like, no, you're fine. There's nothing wrong at all. People seem to dig it. I'm like, all I saw was people leaving. That's the only thing I saw the entire time I was there. Yeah. So I believe I have to set a jumper as well. I gotta look up that page too. If anybody's on that page, maybe you could verify for me as well. And let's see. So what else do we have here? And how hot is this sucker still? Not too terrible. Open this up. All right, let me bring the garbage can over so I can knock that right into it. Is my soldering iron set to 400? Oh, geez. Well, you know what? I have some big. I was actually going after stuff on the ground plane anyway, so that was fine. But you're right. I was definitely. I normally keep it at 325. What generation iPod was that? Real old. You want it, Belmont? I could ship it on with it. Somebody gave it to me because they're like, "Look what I found. Can you do anything with this?" And I was like, "No." Like, well, I'm gonna throw it out if you don't take it. I was like, "Well, pass it along. If you want it, it's yours." For the giant price of absolutely nothing. Was not too bad. Come on, autofocus. Stop being a dick. Was not too bad. I got more filters in here too, I think. Could be right here. Are my filters right here? Beautiful. Aftermarket iPod motherboard mods to add FLAC and network access. That would be funny as hell. I would. That would be really funny. Drop like an ESP32 in there. You have that same click wheel. I always loved the click wheel. I thought that was a great idea. So you got the click wheel, you got the interface, color screen. Right. Back. So now that this is cleaned out, and it was, I wouldn't say it was clogged, but it certainly wasn't in the cleanest condition. Everything's back and loaded. I'm going to try to get the reset button off with my soldering iron. If that doesn't work, we can go from there. And then I'm going to use the heat gun like I was saying for the rest of it. There are some weird pins on that CPU that I can't remember. I have no idea why they were like that. Two pins were bridged together. I was the one that put it back in, so somebody must have told me to do that. I would have never done that on my own. So let's see. We got the controller ports out. Now let's just try for this. Once again, Leon, I appreciate the heads up, but because these are giant pins, I think I'm going to leave them kind of hot for now, and then I'll drop the soldering iron back down. Okay. Yeah, so I think there's just one problematic pin here. I should be able to just wiggle this right out. Yep, beautiful. Okay, coming, coming, coming. Always using my gut as a third hand. Here we go. So it's mostly out. There's just one pin that's being a pain. That's probably one that's connected most to the ground plane. So let me just wiggle that one out too. This might be a stupid question, but is there an orientation to this reset switch? I don't think so. I mean, the this is longer this way than that way, so there is an orientation there. But I don't think if like it'll go in this way. Let's see if I can get it in focus. So it'll go in like that, and if you flip it all the way around, it goes in like that too. It won't fit this way though. But does that orientation matter? I can't imagine it is because that's just a momentary push button switch. Ah, thanks, Leon. That's what I thought. Do I normally stand? No, I always stand. Um, but it wasn't my choice. Um, when I hurt my back a couple years ago, I couldn't sit down for just about 3 months. Getting to the laying down position was pretty brutal. Standing was fine, standing and walking, but sitting down was really painful. I had to drive like I was riding dirty. The seat reclined all the way back, and it was yeah. So I I don't even have a stand and sit desk. Everything I do is standing. The only thing I do have is a very tall chair, so that way that lowers down to normal height. So when I'm streaming games, I could sit in the chair, play on a CRT, and look up at my monitor. All right, so that's in and that's in. We just need PPU and CPU, and RGR sent sockets, so I'm gonna install those too. So that way, when I eventually get the CPU and PPU out, we could just have a win and just slot them right in. Autofocus, thank you, thank you. I forgot to put it back in auto. It does matter. Oh shit. The plot thickens. Well, I guess we'll find out uh, when I eventually turn this thing on, if it still turns on, that if I got it right or not. Yeah. Now my eyesight's going. You know what's funny though? When I first started RetroRGB, I was terrified to tell people I was colorblind because I thought everybody was going to be like, "Oh, you're a fraud. You can't even see past the basic colors." And then as time went on, I started to learn that my color blindness actually helps me see sharpness for 8-bit and 16-bit games more. It's like a weird disability superpower thing. So, and I've gotten tested many times, and I think the name one person said was Strong Durian. I don't know if that's a thing. They may have just made that up, but the what I was told was that I have a very rare type of color blindness. So I could see the Crayola 8, no problem. And when you put them all together, like when you, like the Crayola 8, fine, but the Crayola 52, if I open the lid and I see all the crayons next to each other, a lot of them kind of blur into each other. Um, and especially like if you were to hold up two very similar ones and then hold up just the tip and then hold up the other one, I might not be able to tell the difference between the two. So my eyesight's very weird. And at this point, if somebody has a problem with me, after 12 years of of comparison shots that have proven quite a few different things, if somebody has a problem with my color blindness, they could eat it. All right, so I'm just gonna tack one pin in right here. Mm, use the old screwdriver to prop it up. So I get the socket in. It is flush. It's looking good. Let me squeeze it down just to make sure. Okay. I could just solder these in nice. Getting brighter here, so let me turn down the ISO on my camera so y'all might be able to see it a little bit better. Down a little more. There we go. That should be a little better. Yeah, RGS, I think the shop is safe. Leon, I've seen that before. I've seen that quite a few times before with stuff, and I think the issue is oh, you want to see the PCB? Sure. I think the issue is that they wanted it for strength, so you need a 4-pin switch so that it's stronger on the board itself. But you only need 2 of the pins. I've definitely seen that. There it is on the board, and here's my socketing job that I'm starting. I'm going to put both the sockets in. The other reason, too, that I want to just pause to add the sockets isn't just because I want a win here and I feel like I completed something, but it's also because I don't like the CPU and PPU staying hot for very long. A bunch of people have warned me about that, about how if you heat them up too much, you could kill the chips. So letting them cool down to less than room temperature in front of this open cold ass window, probably a good thing. I am not good enough to drag solder, but I'm doing this pretty decently. And it's back down to 340, Leon. I listened, took your suggestion. Can't believe I forgot to do that before. But 400 still isn't awful. I've had people say, like, I bought one of those mod boards that you recommend, and all I did was just touch my iron to the pad, and the pad came right off. I'm like, well, what are you using? I'm using the same one I use at my auto shop. It's like 80 watts, goes up to like 700. I'm like, yeah, uh-huh. That's your problem right there. It's not the board. Okay. Nothing's nothing's even close to bridged, and all of the joints are nice and goopy, looking like Slimer from Ghostbusters. All right, I got the other one in now. Oh, you know what's funny? Y'all got a kick out of this. It's printed on the board, so it doesn't matter, but I just put the other one in backwards. Here, have a laugh at this one. So you see how the one I'm about to put in has the notch right next to where it's marked on the board? This one, I put the notch over there like an idiot. Well, no big deal. I could just, you know what? Here, let's get a little ghetto. I'll add the notch right here. Done. We've been notched. The old screwdriver back out. That'd be really embarrassing if it wasn't printed on the board. I mean, it's still kind of embarrassing, but whatever. So after tacking it in, I always just kind of hold it with my hand and push it down. Ow, get burned on the other side. But the first one that I did, when I pushed down on the socket itself while heating up the pin, it went in a little further. So that means it was actually kind of sticking up a little bit. So that's why I always like to do that, just to make sure that everything is tacked in properly and everything is flushed down Otherwise, good luck reheating everything to put it back down later. Well, let me try some drag soldering, see if I can pull it off. Holy shit, I kind of am. Look at that. Oh, nice. I'm going to do the other side and then I'll show you the work. Oh, all right. Any touch-ups? Any touch-ups? Yeah, one or two. Not bad at all. Um, I saw one thing that wasn't a. There's a speck of solder just sitting on the board here. You know, this is why I like these things. Where is it? Electronics brush. Voltar uses a toothbrush, but my OCD can't handle that. If I see the same looking toothbrush that I put in my mouth on this thing, every time I go to use my toothbrush, I'm gonna be like, did I forget and use that on a motherboard the other day, or is this actually my toothbrush? All right, those are in quite nice. Let me check the chat. Hey, old kid. When you jumper pads on PCBs with a solder blob, it only works at a lower temp. Yeah, isn't that because if you have it at too high of a temp, it doesn't cool fast enough or something? Do I think we'll ever see good clone PPU CPUs? Yeah, absolutely. I think basically somebody could just take the work that the Mr. FPGA project's been doing and make one off of that. All right, so we are in mostly good shape here. I think the harness maybe I could do now too, and then I'll work on getting those other chips out. That way, if this stream ends up being a somewhat of a fail, I could still say I mostly completed it. And let me double check. Let me just triple check actually the two ground points. I'll add that wiring harness, and then we'll do the heat gun. By the way, Leon, do you need an original Famicom motherboard with a back office composite board for it? I have no idea what I would do with this afterwards, so I was going to send it to anybody who wants it, really. Yeah, so that is correct. Yeah, Hugo, that's right. This is an ESD safe brush. That is a very good point. I don't know if that actually means anything, but it was listed as an ESD safe brush, so whatever. I want to see if I can not have to do these one by one, if I could just kind of do what I was doing before with the CPU pins. Let me feed all of the wires in. Oh, don't slip, don't slip. This is where I wish I had a couple of extra hands. So I'll use solder to tack this down. Wow, at this angle, my glasses are making the table look like it's angled like this. It's so weird. Appears to be working. This is not, these little globs that I'm throwing on here, this isn't the final job. This is just to tack them into place. And then I'm going to go back and redo it in a second. Yeah, wow, that worked. Only one didn't stick, but now I have, well, let me do that same process again here. But yeah, now I'll be able to just hit it up like normal. Cool. Lucky guess. Not at all? No, okay, good. Thought it popped out, but it was just the way the solder dropped into it. Yeah, maybe it would have been faster to just do them one at a time, but they're all in. Solid connections. Nothing's bridged or flaky. Good. Solid. So that board will mount like this, just like the other one. Okay. All right, so I guess it's time for me to stop chickening out and whip out that heat gun. Move anything that I don't want to accidentally get heated up out of the way. You got a box with 20 plus Famicom PCBs in it. That's funny. After this, I will be launching that Games Care SCART switch video. And then after that, I'm going to be doing some more Tink 4K testing. Mike thinks he added a feature that, what a shock, 2 weeks ago he thought would be completely impossible. Smells like pizza. Nope. No, nothing at all yet. The first time I ever did something like this, I was trying to heat up one of the old RetroRGB SNES boards to try a new revision, because I used to just mod them and then sell or give away the consoles, mod another one, and I ran out of people who I could trust to just give me the cash for it. So I tried to heat it off, and then when I did, I angled it, and I was too close, and I had the pressure up too high, and it just blew off like 7 or 8 SMD components. I think I sent that one to Steve from HD Retrovision. Like, here's a free SNES, just take it. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. It's definitely one of these that's giving me trouble. That's why I don't normally like to use a heat gun for this. So it's starting to work itself out a little bit, but not really. And once again, I don't ever want to pry when I do this. I just want to apply pressure. Big difference between prying and applying pressure. And I think that's out. Oh, it's like 99.9% out. Hold on. Like one more. In fact, I could probably do that with the iron better. So let me put this down without burning myself, like I very often do. This is pretty much out. I think there's just this one pin left. And I should be able to just hit it with the iron and push it out. Okay, that's out. Yeah, that one had a ton of excess solder on it, so that must have been what that was. Now we can take a look at the other one. I'll check the chat too. One success at least. Hey Ariel, what's up? Yeah, not too terrible, Leon. I'm not the best at this, but not too terrible. Let me straighten out these pins and see if I could insert it directly into here. Great. Sometimes this is harder than desoldering, getting all the pins lined up perfectly. Okay. Wow, I got super lucky. Usually I'll accidentally bend one of the pins. All right. That socketed real nice. And the notch matches the notch on the board. And I have re-notched this one with my soldering iron. So yeah, that worked out. All right, one more to go. Hey, Mega Man, happy birthday. The only problem with that, Leon, right here is cardboard. So when I let it sit there, it'll burn the cardboard. And damn it, I just dropped the thing. And this is metal as well, so the metal rack would get hot. So just trying to be careful, cautious and careful. I'm going to put it on this side. Once again, not prying, just pressure. Everybody's just joining. I thought the board warped for a minute there, and then I realized it's my glasses doing that weird thing that they do sometimes. Let me just double check this. Yeah, the board is not warped. That was just my glasses. Son of a bitch. Try this side now. That did freak me out for a minute there. Maybe it's not up high enough? I'm only going to give this another second or two because I don't want to melt anything. I can't understand why this isn't going. Yeah, let me stop for a second and figure out what the heck is going on with this. I think maybe I just put way too much solder on when I put this CPU back in a while back. Let me just wait and see. No, Ariel, these are just soldering glasses for when I'm looking up close. Oh, wow. Did an ad just show up for this thing? I'm sorry. I never get it right. The thing that really upsets me, though, is when I'm done with a live stream and you can't set ads until it's done processing. So YouTube sometimes will add like 30, 40 ads in a 2 hour live stream. And then the next morning, I finally get a chance to go back and fix it. And I put like 4 in for a 2 hour, like every half hour type of thing. But that drives me crazy. I feel so bad, and there's nothing I could do about it at all. But yeah, the live stream revenue is like zero, except for super chats, which are always appreciated. So thank you for anybody who does those. But yeah, the live streams are more for me to do the same work that I was going to be doing anyway, but I get to hang out with all you awesome people. I'm also going to try the Voltar trick of adding a little bit of solder to some of these, just a tiny bit, just to see if that'll crack whatever is stuck on this. Yeah, that'll probably help a little. Yeah, there we go. A little better, a little better. Let's check this out again. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, most of them feel pretty good. One here? I think some of these have. I think I must have put way too much solder on the last time. I think that's part of the issue, is that there's solder coming through the top of a couple of these. So I'm gonna try again uh, with the gun. And if I can't get this to work, I think maybe I should do the heat gun again with a little bit towards the top. Not a lot, a little bit. Four, one, two. Yeah, I think that could be it. Leon, any suggestions on that one? Have you ever had to hit it on top as well? Stop and check the chat for a moment. Hey, what's up, Dan? Nope, just the CPU, PPU, and then the 2 controller ports and the reset button. I'm just taking my sweet ass time because I don't want to ruin this kit that I got sent to test. Wayne, that's one of the tests. Yeah, Leon, I think the top one's the CPU, right? No, PPU, PPU. And I think the problem is that I added too much solder the last time I did this. I think. Yeah, let me try the heat gun again. All right. A little screwdriver under here. A little bit of pressure. Well, it's moving. Oh, wait, we're almost. Wait, we almost got it. It's just this side now. And they're real careful. Are we almost out? We're almost out. We are so damn close. We are so close. Hoping it would fall right out, like sometimes I see in the videos. Okay, we just have a couple of them left. Just a few pins. I don't know if you saw a capacitor fell out too. Got it. Got it. Now let's see. Did any of the pins break or bend? We have a rogue capacitor that seems to have come out too. Heck, I didn't even hurt any of the traces on the board. Nice. No warping on the board at all. No scrapes, no scuffs. No traces pulled. Just that random cap. All right. Ah, and you could see the issue, I think. You're probably not going to be able to see that, but there is some pins with a lot of extra solder on them. So that was my fault the last time I put this thing in. That's why it took so long to get out this time. That's why it was so easy to get out the last time. But that's no problem. I could just hit that with my iron and smooth that out. Fenris, I got mixed feelings about that because I've seen. I just when it comes to retro brighting, I do it from a very cautious point of view. I always start out with like 20, 30 minutes, and take before and after pictures with a pro camera. Otherwise, you might not actually be able to tell if there was a difference, but um, there is. There usually is. It's usually worth it, and I like to do it that way. And more often than not, I'll put it in for like 20, 30 minutes and it'll come back looking like not perfect, but not yellowed. And that's it. It's the people that leave them in too long or using the wrong methods. That's where you could cause some issues with that. All right, so let me take my iron. Let me just smooth out these pins to get that extra solder off. Well, it's certainly nice to know what the issue was. All right. Ooh, dropped it. I'll try this. All right. Putting this in. Trying to get all the pins in. Wow, I'm 2 for 2. No bent pins. Nice. All right. So, let's try some shit. Here. So, I might be wrong, but I think we should be able to just power this thing on and see if we get a video output from it, right? So brutally hot, so I could hang that back up there now. Watch me accidentally touch it and burn myself later. I'm going to grab some paper towels real quick just to wipe down that area and then put some non-conductive down. Just washing the excess goop off. Nice damp paper towel, and then make sure I don't short anything out. Okay. And let me grab not the EverDrive, a game, in case I did break anything. So that way, if I broke it, all I have to do is replace a single game and not an EverDrive. Tetris. Okay. Grab. All right, I'm gonna switch this over to the Tink view. Okay. Let me make sure that there's signal here. Yep. Okay. Front CPS, no signal. That's totally fine. Let me plug this in, and let's all cross our fingers and see if we get something. I'm gonna move the Tink back over. Drop this up over here. Plugging the composite cable in. Plugging power in. Oh wait, y'all notice something very important that might be missing from this equation? The power switch. What a dork. All right, actually, I think I could just jump these together, turn the power on. I think all I need to do is just hook up the power switch cable and then just touch them together to see if the power goes on. Yeah, that actually wasn't as silly. All right. Composite cable. Power. Heading back over to the tank. All right. And I'm going to touch the two wires together right now. Nothing. So I'm pretty sure what the light does come on though. So what I'm pretty sure is happening right now is I need to set that jumper that I saw on that expansion board that I didn't set yet. I figured it's not going to hurt to not set it right away, but let's see. If anybody's on that RGR website right now, let me know if you find anything, but here is the jumper I am talking about. Yeah, this one. So it says composite or RF. And do I actually have to do the composite mod to this thing in order to get a signal, or could we compare them both? Let me take a look. Oh, wait, autofocus. Right. Cecil, your SNES is brown, cracked, and missing screw posts. Okay, in this description right here, click on the thing that says transparent RGR shells. And if you scroll down to like the middle of the page, you'll see SNES and Super Famicom transparent shells. That's by far the best option. They're not cheap, but like, you know, if you really want something gorgeous, that's it. Oh, jeez. Between the glasses and the cough, all I need to do is yell at some kid to get off my lawn, and I'm officially old. So it seems like I don't need to install this yet, because it says I'd have to remove components for that to work. And I didn't have a composite mod on the other one. That other board was just go. Yeah, there was no mod on the other board, I think. However, let me look at this and see if I could find. Okay, I have to convert the bottom two, or I have to jump the bottom two pins. Leon, if you're still on, what temperature do you use for jumping them? 225? think I might be back. My mic, one of my mics just died. Let me throw that on charge real quick. I don't know where I left off. I was just sitting here rambling to myself like a complete psycho. All right, sorry about that. So I don't know where I was rambling, so I'm just gonna tell you where I'm at. Added the jumper. This is jumped now too, so I don't have to hold so I don't have to hold two wires together. So we're just gonna go over to the Tink. Wait for the overlay to go. We're gonna plug in power, and we're gonna cross our fingers. Well, shit. Look at that. That's pretty cool. And let me test the reset button. The reset button does seem to work. Okay, so I plugged it in correctly. Let me unplug this. Hold on for 1 second. All right, well, that's pretty awesome. So, what I think I'm going to do then is connect a controller and do the same test that I did before with Super Mario 3 to double check and see if that's going to work or not. To see if this made a big difference. That controller in, get the EverDrive back. Right. Angle the camera. See. And then I'll do the extra composite mod on top of that. Oh, sorry, there was an echo from the camera thingy. But so then I will do the composite mod afterwards, just to see. So we can get rid of this. I'm gonna power this on, load up Super Mario, and cross our fingers. And that way we could do a comparison of the board versus the original motherboard, and then I'll do a third comparison of the composite mod. Okay. So we are going to picture. There were no turtles in the original picture. Okay. What's going on now if not composite? Oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry. So it actually is composite video. What it's doing though is it is taking the signal at the back of the motherboard and converting that. Whereas if I use the RGR board, it'll be a little bit should be an improvement. We'll see. So we've got stock Famicom, got motherboard. So here is the completely stock Famicom with the back office board. So there's all the jail bars there. Now I'm going to show another one. Here's the picture we just took. I am loading this up now. The jail bars are still there. The colors seem to be. It's not as bright, which is a good thing. The other one seemed a little bit overblown, but that. All right, so the jail bars are still there. So now we got to do the other composite mod. This. Yeah, Belmont, that was the problem. So that must have been where my audio cut out. It was the pins 1 and 2 in the mini DIN that was the issue. So now let's try to solder this tiny ass little thing on here. So the PPU is up top, CPU is up bottom, so PPU. So this thing have to go Yeah, it's very tiny. So I have to remove some components. I think I have to jump a wire as well. So let's see. Remove R6 and one from the board. So I actually don't think I would need to remove any components on this. If you all want to, I'll drop it again just for reference, but I don't think I need to remove any components because I think all I would have to do is switch the jumper on this board. I think if I put the jumper that was set to RF to composite input, then I think what I would have to do is uh, that pad, like this mod, I don't know what pins they go to, so just bear with me for a second. I'm just going to throw them in here. But let's just say that's the correct position. Then I would just uh, solder this to that with one short wire and then set the jumper here. I don't think I actually need to remove any components on this. I think I would just then set that jumper there to composite input. Does somebody want to double check that for me in that link that I just posted? Um, and also double check what pins I'm supposed to put that thing around. And I will at least start by switching that jumper and give chat time to catch up because there's a long delay on this. Okay. A little bit of solder braid to remove the other jumper. Put these together. I need a little more solder for that. Okay. That is good. I'm going to double and triple check this though. I want to put a multimeter on that to make sure I removed it. Yeah, I think that is completely correct, Belmont. I just need to figure out what pins to put that on now. Let me just double check here. So, beep. Okay, nothing is short. Well, the proper jumpers are shorted, nothing improper is shorted. Let me read what that said again. So unless I'm crazy, this goes all the way on the right or left. Left. That look correct to everybody? That's what it said. That's what it looks like in the pictures on the website, at least. I think that's it. Then I just need a short jumper wire. I guess one easy thing to try is touch that to ground. Let's see. So we know that this pin is ground. Okay, that's probably it. If not, I just spent over 2 hours ruining a board, but we'll see. Turn my heat back up to like 325. Quick solder board's pretty cool. Mm. Yeah, that was pretty easy. And I just gotta find a little jumper wire, box of wires and stuff. So, oh geez, I don't need much space at all. All right, cool. Um, hey, Raw Talent Art, what's up? Old kid, yeah, that was if you were using an original Famicom. This is the RGR board we're using. Right. Should be good. Yeah, not bad. All right. Oh, try it again. I am, for the record, I am not and never have been expecting this to cure jail bars. I was hoping it would, but I think a couple of people much smarter than me a few years ago determined that certain jail bar issues on Famicoms follow the PPU. However, I wanted to test this board out, and I certainly wanted to show it on stream just because I think there's going to be a lot of uses for this. All right. And since I have the PPU socketed now, if I want to just do this again, it'll be much easier. Maybe Leon could lend me one of his 1,000 PPUs that he has in a box. All right, let's try this now. Let's cross our fingers and let's hope I didn't screw anything up. we're good. Okay. Ah, crap. However, guess what? Reset button works, so I got lucky. I gotta message Leon and tell him. All right, now wait for the turtles to walk by. I'll snap a screenshot and we'll see where we're at. Yep, Belmont. There was that one that I had to set where I just switched it from RF to the composite mod, but that was it. For some reason, my AverMedia software isn't working. Let me reboot that to take a better screenshot. There we go. It just the software took a moment. All right, let it. Turtles walk by. Snap another screen. All right. I'm looking for the first time with all of you right now. Let's see what it does. Ooh, look at that. Guess what you don't see? They're still there, but wow. All right, hold on. Hold on. Let me grab so this is the motherboard with the stock output. Still see the same jail bars as before. That's with the composite bypass. Well, damn. That looks nice. All right, well, let's put this sucker back together. This is cool. I guess we'll start very simply by seeing if the power switch requires anything. It shouldn't. It should just be a simple toggle. But let's start with that just to see. And I'll put Tetris back in just in case. I don't want to break my EverDrive. I could turn the iron off because I don't need that anymore. Here. That's exciting. It's gonna be one sexy Famicom when I get it all back together. All right. So, oh wait, I turned the iron off when I gotta solder the thing. Ah, what a dork. The other thing I'm going to take out too is this piece because Martin sent me a brand new one. So that's the other thing we could leave off for now. He actually sent me two of those. So let me, where's that other one? If anybody needs these, I actually have this one, which is a little flimsy, but it works. You got to just wiggle it. It's 3D printed. This one seems to be much stronger. And then the last one, there's a metal piece in it. So I'll show that once we actually get to this. I always save extra anti-static bags, and wouldn't they usually sit there for years, and then within a week I'll use all of them, and then I'll have nothing. I'll have to be like, well, let me wrap it in anti-static bubble wrap instead. Okay, I'm just guessing at which is which here. I think if we get it wrong, it's not going to blow the whole thing out. It's just it would just reverse on and off, so I would just have to reverse the wires. Would be really terrible if I screwed this up and ended up, after all this, after a successful jail bar removal and everything, I didn't blow out the CPU and PPU after a completely successful stream. Imagine if I just put the wrong power buttons in, or power connector in, killed the whole thing. All right. So it is currently in the off position. I'll switch back over to the Tink so we can see it in real time. Right, so plugging the power button in now, or the power cord in. Okay, now we turn it in the on position. Well, hey, I got lucky again. Isn't that nice? All right. So now I can put my soldering iron away. I hope, I think. Tetris. All right, so this piece, I'll save extra one of these two as spares. Pull this one out. So this is clear to match the clear shell. That's pretty cool. It's always so hard to get these off. All right. Tolerance of 3D prints aren't always the best, but let's see. And obviously, I mean the tolerance of all 3D prints. I'm not talking about just Martin's 3D prints. Wow, this is really tight. In fact, let me test the other one that he sent me. Maybe that'll be. Yeah. Okay. They're the same exact size, so I'm gonna use the other ones because there's seem to slide in a little easier. Bad he sent extras. Now I'll just have a big pile of extra retro gamer store stuff. I should just send these all to Ryan or something. That way he go. That way he can have extras if he needs it. I'm caught. All right, come on. Get in there. I think I must have it wrong. I think I'm supposed to put him. Yeah, I bet you that'll work. Must have been it. Yeah, that was it. I had him in the wrong position. All right. Try it again. So my plastic piece here broke, and I think most of them do. And I think it'll still stick in, but it might not be as secure as the original was. That'll work. Now we'll run this around. Grab that other controller too. Would also be kind of funny. Check the chat. Am I missing anything? Noon, time to get blazed. Yeah. Well, come back soon. I think I should be done in less than 5 minutes, unless I break something. And I'm dying to see how this thing comes out. Just the look of the finished product with a new motherboard and everything. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put the spring on. What a moron. Ah, all right. Slide this back. There we go. All right. All lined up nice. Yeah, these 4 screws, the ones actually think they're all the same, but I'm reusing them the same ones because why not? All lined up. This one. Nope. If you're using a power screwdriver, never tighten it all the way to the end. Leave some slack and then kind of inch it in yourself. That way you don't crack this beautiful new plastic. Okay. Or problem. So I'm gonna leave just one screw in, and I'm still gonna try Todd's cable here and see if that fits. Absolutely, totally fits. Out of curiosity, he had a prototype cable that he had sent me. And I'm gonna see if that fits too, because that connector was a little bit different. But heck, now I know which cable I'm gonna be bundling with this if the prototype cable works. And for the record, the prototype cable was excellent. It just he made some cosmetic changes. It fits, it's just real snug. And it's not snug because of the case. Yeah, okay. Well, prototype cable stays in the prototype bag. However, the cable Todd's actually selling fits perfect. So if you were just looking for a composite video Famicom, that would be a good idea. And also, just to remind everybody, this was a long stream. We covered a ton of stuff. If you just want to use the Retro Game Restore rear panel and composite bypass, you don't have to do any of the stuff that I showed in this video. You could only add that. Now I'm actually really, when I first started the stream, I said I wanted to test just that first, and I decided not to. Now I'm kind of sad. I really wish I did, to see if it made that much of an improvement. Um, but yeah, that's if you want to just get this board and then just get this composite bypass here, you'd have to run things slightly different than what I did. But I think that's an absolutely awesome solution. Oh, I think I gotta lift the board up too to I oh wow, I didn't think that was gonna work. Not think that was gonna work. Pretty funny. Okay. So I got this cable run here. Cable management on Famicoms is always a pain, but when you do it right, it looks great. Okay. Um, all right, two mistakes already. I forgot to put the reset button in. It's a very quick and easy thing to fix. However, I seem to have lost the rubber grommet for the other. Wait, no, found it. All right, super easy. Well, it can't be a Bob stream without at least one or two stupid mistakes. Forgetting to connect power, putting this in the, forgetting the reset button. It happens. What I can do is finish this rear board though. Okay, one more for the back. That button. Right back in. So the only other thing I'm thinking is what to do with all the slack for this power cable. Do I run it around underneath and just leave it? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna do that, because you never know what mod I'm gonna end up doing next on this thing, and if I gotta mess with the power cable, then it's gonna be safer to do it that way. Right, that's in there. Screw this back together, and we're almost done. 10 more screws, and this thing's back. Okay, final steps. Let me check the chat before I do it. Somebody's probably calling out like, you messed something up. You put it in backwards. All right, cool. Wrapping this around. Out of the way. Well, this is looking pretty badass. I'm just making sure I don't have anything crimped before I bolt the final thing down. Oh, the eject tray looks so much cooler than the other one, or works so much. All right, this is awesome. I think everything's fine. I don't think that power cable is crimped. But let's keep going and see. All right. Let's show this sucker off. Let me clean off the table so you can just see the goods. All right. Clear. Absolutely awesome looking. I love the look of it. You can see the Retro Gamer Store labels through them. This has got Dennis's clear controllers on here, which these fit kind of snug, but he's working on an updated revision. They actually are already looser just by putting, plugging them in and removing them a couple times. They're already way better. That has Dennis's clear controller on there, and then look at the rear. How unbelievably clean is that? Oh, this looks awesome. So let's and the other thing too. Let me angle down and zoom down so you could see it a little bit better here, if you can even. Keep the camera in zoom mode for a second. Oh. So anybody who had the other 3D printed release lever version, there's two things this accomplishes, right? So first, the only reason it didn't pop back all the way is because my my top thing is broken. So if it had more, that's still way better than the other one. If it had the original plastic, it would work better. But here's the other thing that you may not notice. The CPU and the PPU are socketed. Anybody who's ever installed an NES RGB knows that you could no longer use the eject lever. But the way Martin had these 3D printed replacements, you can use sockets and the original. So that's actually a pretty big deal. So let me throw in the EverDrive again. Let's just do a final Super Mario Brothers test. And then I'll be signing off. So any other questions, let me know right now. Fatty's hungry. Time to eat. Over. And gonna plug in the power, and then I'll power it on. Oh, interesting. So with the case on, am I able to get this in? No, it still fits. It still fits. You just gotta, there's no extra space for the plug, but that's fine. So, power the sucker on. Loading up some Super Mario 3. Looking good. That's awesome. So any questions before I go? Any other thing that you anybody was looking to see with this? I'm pretty sure we're all done here. I can't imagine there's much more we could show or discuss or anything. But if there is, just let me know now. If not, the last thing I'm going to end with is I will switch back to the camera view to show you what it looks like with the cables plugged in the back, because that looked really cool as well. I'll just let this play a second. Let me snap another screenshot just to, it's me. Don't triple and quadruple check everything. Are you really doing your job? Yeah, no, it's the jail bars are still there, but it's way less noticeable, just like we saw before. Thanks for swinging by, Belmont. All right, so here's how we're gonna end it. Power this sucker off, and put the controller in. That's the rear of the sucker right there. So that's completely no cut with the Retro Game Restore shell. If you were using the original shell, you would want the 3.5 millimeter board in there. But with the Retro Game Restore shell, there's no cut needed. It's just a nice, smooth look to it. So thanks everybody for joining me with this. Stuff like this is infinitely more fun when I get to do it with you. So I really appreciate when you all come by and hang out. It just makes everything so much more fun. Much, much appreciated. If I missed a super chat this time, I apologize. It's never intentional. But yeah, you're all a bunch of awesome people. Thank you so much. And I will see you at the next one. Might be Tuesday. If not, it would probably be